Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. We're back with another edition of Pots and Shots, and I'm again with Jake Jacoby, CEO of TELCLOUD. Jake, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Doug. Good to see you again.
So, we're making a tour of the exciting opportunity, also the daunting opportunity of pots and shots. Pots being that copper's got to be replaced. Later on in our podcast, we're going to be talking about the finest tequilas in the whole world. And Jake actually is in Mexico, so he's giving us the good stuff from the place it's supposed to be made. It's as excellent as it can be. But for now, we're going to be talking about the rising costs of fixed pricing, a smarter path for resellers. So let's get into that. The historic world of pots was a world of fixed costs. You had a line, you paid a per line charge. And I have a feeling for many of our readers, especially our enterprise readers that are not technology companies, have not heard about the pots thing. It was like it's kind of a minor price, right? It was a few dollars per line per month.
Yeah, I think it typically, historically, $15 to $30 a line, something like that. Reasonable, fixed, wasn't changing very much. It was traditional, right? So, yeah.
Right. And price of doing business, and it was really regulated. Am I right about that? I mean, this was that $15 was, yeah.
Yeah, it's a utility regulated by the FCC. They couldn't, the carriers couldn't charge more. There are subsidies behind it, but yeah, definitely. So.
And back in the day, the idea was, well, Ma and Pa Kettle need to have a phone. We need to have a phone in the elevator. We need to have a phone in all these places. It needs to be a very modest charge. And now I'm hearing about wild pricing. Like I'll let you tell that how high it can go.
Yeah, absolutely. So the history there is copper is being phased out. Carriers are no longer focused on copper; they're focused on fiber and wireless. And the reason for it is that we have new technologies, right? But the copper infrastructure that we were just talking about, that was the historic copper infrastructure where all phone lines were living, is now we're only using about 5 to 10% of it, right? And so as the carriers are not using that, not driving revenue for that, they don't have the revenue to maintain that copper, to continue to provide services over that copper. They wanted to get out of that business, right? It makes sense. They evolve into fiber and wireless and things like that, but this is legacy. So how do they do that? Well, because it is a utility and it was regulated by the FCC back in 2016, 2015, they weren't able to just turn it off. Or they also did not have the ability to change the price, right? So let's say we're using less of that infrastructure. So as a business person, you're like, okay, I've got this fixed cost and I've got less revenue, so I need to charge more in order to just cover my costs. That's just the cost of doing business. Well, if you're regulated and you can't, that's a problem, right? You're going to end up losing money. And so what happened is the telcos went to the FCC and said, explain the problem, explain the future, and got the exception to be able to, one, deregulate this, and two, eventually get out of this business. Well, that happened in like 2019 or 2025 now. And so what has happened is these prices have gone up and up and up. And back when I started this business, the average POTS line was like $65, $70. Now we're seeing $100, $200, $500, and then we saw $1,200 a line per month in California, right? And so, I said, there's government agencies that are paying even way more than that. So, but if you think about it, right? If you look at this as a telco, they, again, even if they're charging $1,200 a line, they're still potentially not covering their costs of maintaining those old lines. So they want out of the business. So even though this price is high and will continue to go higher, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not still going to shut it off. So we got two problems: price hike, and two, you're paying exorbitant, very high price for something that may be shut off any day. So double problem.
So we're looking at basically a revolution, because what we had before was that $15 charge or the $65 charge, it was because everyone else was using the same technology. So it was spread out over thousands, maybe millions of users. Now, your POTS user is actually utilizing a specialty service, which the carriers like losing money on. And of course, they're going to charge a specialty price.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a way to transition and get rid of this old technology, right? The carriers do not want to maintain this, and they need a path forward, right? And so they're doing what they can to move forward. Again, they're trying to deliver POTS lines over fiber, things like this, using the latest technology. But that's where we come in, right? So we use the latest technology to transform and provide a substitute for that old copper line. Now, what the problem is that this legacy equipment requires that copper line, the features and functionality and the way that copper line works. So the legacy equipment, in order to use wireless and fiber technology, sometimes that is either not possible or it requires a very costly upgrade. So the place that we play is we are backward compatible with the legacy equipment, right? However, we are using future technology to transform that. We play that bridge. Now, the nice thing about that is we're able to do it in a very affordable way, right? So TELCLOUD doesn't sell direct, so we're not selling to the end users. We sell at a wholesale level and empower our resellers to take our back end services and then bring those to market. Well, in the way that we do it and the way that we work through the channel is that we do it in a very affordable way, which means that our resellers can provide a very affordable service to the end customer, a fixed price, almost a fixed monthly price that allows the customer to have backward compatible, better technology. So we're not just trying to replace copper, we're trying to improve it, right? I have a funny hat says make analog great again, right? It's like we are trying to make it backward compatible, but still be able to deliver this service in the future, right? And so have a IP path or the future of this communication path is not going to go away. The POTS lines will go away, but that communication path for fire, elevators, emergency phones needs to continue. So in this ecosystem of backend provider, reseller, carrier, we're able to bring this solution, which is better than before, at a lower price, right, to the end customer, lower fixed price, which guarantees the service, guarantees revenue for our resellers, and allows us to provide that service. That makes sense.
And to wrap it up, that means you don't have to replace that old equipment necessarily in that elevator or box or whatever. You're just getting rid of the copper with something even more reliable. You're restoring the fixed price.
That's
kind of a sticky solution here.
That's absolutely right. So we're bringing, reintroduce that fixed price, right? You have the ability to still deliver a copper line to that legacy infrastructure. There's the backhaul, and the way that copper line now communicates is using future-proof technology, right? Instead of in the past, it was a copper line from the legacy device all the way miles to the central office and then out to the PST, public switch telephone network. We are bridging that gap with future technology, right? So that is backward compatible, but also embraces everything that fiber and wireless and 5G and onto 6G in the future, even satellite can provide.
All right. And now it's time for POTS and shots. It's the shots part. So we have the blue light on. Now, the finest tequilas in the world. And Jake is like live in Mexico. That's Mexico behind him. That's actually a little bit of Mexico behind him.
Yes.
So you have an even cooler part, I think, in your hand. What do you have for us today?
Yes, so this one, being down here, so the reason I'm in Mexico is we have an amazing call center 24/7 here that the largest carriers in the world use. We're part of that, and so I have access to great shops that have unique offerings. Again, things that you can only get in Mexico. And a lot of them, the high-end stuff is exported around the world, so you can pick those up. But you get special items sometimes while you're down here. So this is what I found the other day is this, it's actually, I thought it was one bottle, but it's actually the picture. It says it's a 2-bottle box, right? It's called
Wow.
Don Ramon. It's a Punta Diamante Reposado. So yeah, as you know, I'm a big Reposado fan. And so it's a really pretty, but a nice little box. But if you look at the bottle, and so I pulled it out already, you can see these bottles are really pretty here. And you actually get one for you and one for your friend. So you've got
That's
a
really
little
neat.
Reposado here to gift, and a Reposado bottle here for your house, so that you can put it on your in your bar and then share with your friends. But again, a Reposado, meaning rested, aged, about a year in an oak barrel. Corte Diamante is what it's called, and very good tequila. Definitely suggest checking it out.
And as always, the bottles the presentation is amazing. This is a sipping tequila, and this I notice is we've seen dark tequilas, and then we've seen clear. This is kind of almost a yellow rosy color.
Yeah. So again, that it's rested. That's hence the Reposado in a oak barrel. But again, a lot of that comes from what type of oak that was, how many times that barrel's been used, what it was used for before. Remember in some of the past episodes, we had some very cool things like they would use an oak barrel that was a Cabernet barrel from Napa Valley before, right? And so you get a pink tone to it and a little bit of a Cabernet taste notes of it. And so I'm not sure, usually it's French oak or American oak barrels. But again, this one is, can't wait to, share this with my friends. And it's got this like kind of blue color at the bottom as well. Just makes the bottle look really nice. But yeah, fantastic.
Well, Jake, I really want to thank you for joining me today. This has been interesting. We're making our tour through the greatest tequilas in the world. We're making our tour through one of the most unique opportunities, almost a once in a lifetime opportunity, really, with the POTS replacement. It will not come around again. Now's the moment. All those elevators and stuff have got to be replaced. Where can we learn more about TELCLOUD?
Yeah, obviously at TELCLOUD.com. And just a note there, Doug, this is a very interesting time. I think we are at this point where over the next 3 years, the majority of these lines are going to be, at least in the United States, going to be converted. We talked about this in the past, but there's over 1 billion lines globally that need to be replaced, right? So this is not only opportunity in the United States. We work internationally as well. And so we'd love to partner with you and help your customers. But look us up at telcloud.com or call us at 844-900-2270. We'd love to partner with you.
I'll throw this real quick in for folks that are like MSPs and they've never been in telecom. Not for them. This is a doable thing even for those guys.
Absolutely. I mean, so our model at TELCLOUD is, and I encourage you to watch the rest of these, podcasts. We go into a little bit deeper, but we're anywhere from full service where, it's your brand and your relationship. That's super important to our business, right? We do not work direct with the end customers. We need you. They trust you as their trusted advisor. So if there's needs for your customers, we're happy to be that expert on the back end and do everything under your brand. To the other extreme where you're a CLEC or an ILEC or a telco and you need that little specialty piece that we can bring to the table, and you just need to get our technology, our kind of infrastructure and marry it with your infrastructure. We have those relationships as well. So there's really something for whatever type of business you're in. That's what we're here to do, is partner with you. And so I encourage you to reach out.
All right, Jake Jacoby, everyone. Take a look at the there's a big library of these podcasts now. You can learn everything you need to know about this opportunity. Reach out to the guys at TELCLOUD. They're super friendly. And stay looking out for our next one. But for now, thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Have a great day.